Training respect as a life legacy. 1. Respect to God is the source of all other respect. As a father, I have learned that the first and most powerful respect I can train in my children is the fear of the Lord. When a child learns to revere God, His Word, His presence, His principles, he automatically becomes more sensitive to human authorities, including his parents. I have always taught that God is not just a little friend in heaven, He is a father, but He is also King. Respect begins when my son understands that there is an order superior to his will and that God expects obedience. And the Bible is clear in Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. If respect for God is present, the rest follows as a consequence. A child who fears the Lord thinks twice before acting dishonorably. Task for parents: start and end the day with a brief moment of Bible reading and prayer with your children. Choose Proverbs as your source book. Read one verse a day and ask, what does this teach us about respecting God? 2. Honoring your elder is honoring your own history. A generation that loses respect for its elders also loses respect for its own origins. At home, my children learned from a young age to honor their grandparents, uncles, leaders, and more experienced people, even when their opinions differ. I always say, a son who doesn't learn to respect an elderly person will tomorrow not respect his own father. In Leviticus 19:32, it is written, stand up before the elderly, honor your elders, and fear your God. Respect is expressed in attitudes, listening, serving, giving way, learning from those who came before. And all of this is training, repetition, constancy. Task for parents: choose a day of the week to visit or call an older relative. Take your children along and ask them to ask at least 3 questions about that person's life, faith, or past. 3. Train your children to respect those who think differently. Today we live in a generation that cancels, blocks, and insults anyone who disagrees. But Christian respect goes against this. I teach my children that disagreeing with honor is a sign of maturity. You don't need to agree with everyone, but you need to treat everyone with dignity. Jesus respected even those who rejected him. He treated her firmly, but with love. The Apostle Peter says in 1 Peter 3:15, always be prepared to give an answer to anyone who asks you to give a reason for the hope that is in you. However, do this with gentleness and respect. At home, we learn to talk about politics, faith, school, and even controversial topics without shouting, without humiliating or mocking. This is training, and it starts with the father. Task for parents: create a table of respect with your children. Once a week, bring up a controversial topic and discuss it together without offense, without fighting, with a biblical basis and arguments. 4. Respecting your own body and time is respecting God's creation. One thing that few people realize: respect also involves self-care. I train my children to take care of their body, mind, and time as an act of honor to God. Whoever respects himself values himself, and those who value themselves respect others. I teach that sleeping well, eating right, avoiding addictions, not comparing yourself, and not treating yourself with self-deprecating words are practical ways of respecting yourself. And this also glorifies God. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 reminds us, you are not your own, you were bought with a price. Therefore glorify God with your bodies. If we want respectful children, we need to train them to see themselves through God's eyes, with identity, value, and purpose. Task for parents: set up a personal honor routine with your child with 3 daily practices: a physical one, e.g., drinking water, sleeping well; an emotional one, e.g., praying, thanking yourself; and a time practice, e.g., turning off your cell phone for 30 minutes. Father, respect is a legacy. It is a value trained with intentionality. It is not born in the child as a gift. It is forged with examples, limits, dialogue, Bible, and purpose. Don't wait for the world to teach you what your mission is. Take on the role of respect coach in your home. Be the first to honor. Be the first to ask for forgiveness. Be the first to adjust, and the fruit will come. Parents who set limits train respectful children. I learned the hard way that children are not born knowing how to respect. Respect is trained, and this training begins at home with well defined limits. I'm not talking about brute imposition, shouting, or exaggerated punishment. I'm talking about love with direction. I'm talking about a father who loves enough to say no firmly and maintain that no until the end, even when it hurts. If there's one thing I've realized in these years as a father and pastor, it's that many men confuse being present with being permissive. But the true gift a father can give his son is the security of well defined limits. And look, this doesn't weaken the relationship. On the contrary, it strengthens it. Son respects father who has his word, who doesn't go back just because he cried, threw a tantrum, or threatened to slam the bedroom door. At home, my wife and I have the habit of sitting down with the boys and explaining why we make our decisions. The rule is clear and the motivation is fair. When they realize that there is coherence and firmness, even without understanding everything, they respect it. Not right away, of course, but over time the heart is shaped. The Bible leaves no doubt. Correct your child while there is hope. Proverbs 19:18. This is urgent. While there is hope, there are fathers who are postponing correction, thinking that their child will mature alone. It won't. You will get lost in the world, being shaped by influences that do not fear God. The respect he should have learned at home will be demanded on the street, at work, at school, and even at church, and worse, charged with interest. Respect and discipline are twin brothers. One walks close to the other. A son who learns to respect his father and mother, learns to respect authority, learns to honor leadership, learns to listen no, learns to control himself. This is why the absence of limits is so destructive. It feeds the ego, encourages rebellion, and plants the seed of insubordination, and the harvest is bitter. If you avoid correcting your child for fear of hurting them, understand one thing: you are not protecting them, you are weakening them. The world has no pity. The world will hit harder than any correction you give with love. Outside, he won't receive patience, he will receive dismissal. You won't receive a hug, you will receive rejection. Training to deal with life begins at home, with you being a firm and loving parent. Being firm is not being brutal. Being firm means being constant, coherent, predictable. It's teaching with words and reinforcing with actions. Son needs to know that every time he exceeds the limit, the consequence will come. No anger, no shouting, no out of control, but firmly. He will understand over time that you are trustworthy, and that builds respect. I usually say that a father's authority is like a pillar. If you dismantle it every time your child cries or insists, that pillar collapses. But if you stand firm, this pillar supports the entire house. I'm not talking about authoritarianism. I'm talking about leadership with love. The parent who leads with limits is saying, I care about you. I care so much that I won't let you choose what will destroy you. And if you ask me, Pastor, what if my son has already crossed the line? Has he lost respect? I answer you, there is still hope. It's never too late to regain your position as an authority, but it will require humility, constancy, and firm repositioning. It will hurt, but it will be worth it. Do you know what else is restoring homes today? Parents who repent, return to their leadership position, and begin a new time of training with their children. It's possible. With prayer, with wisdom, and with the Holy Spirit leading, you will see changes. But let me give you a direct word here. From man to man, stop outsourcing this responsibility. School is not going to teach your child respect. Not the pastor, not the teacher, not the neighbor, and you. It is in your voice, your attitudes, and your constancy that your child will learn to respect you. This is part of your calling as a man and woman of God, as leaders in the home, as a priest in your home, and more. Limits are not just rules, they are protective fences. They are signs of love. When you clearly set boundaries, you are saying, I care about you enough to keep you from yourself. Because the truth is that children don't know what's best for them, not even a teenager, and sometimes not even an adult. Wisdom comes with time, but respect is planted now. Maybe you need to regroup as a parent. Maybe he was too absent, too permissive, too confused in his decisions, but you can start over. The important thing is to assume your position and start training with courage. Don't expect to be perfect. Start the way you are, with faith, with fear, firmly. Practical task for parents. List 3 of your child's behaviors that show a lack of respect. This could be responding ironically, not obeying the first time, mocking corrections, etc. Choose one of these behaviors and talk to your child about what needs to change. Establish a clear, fair, and proportionate consequence if he exceeds this limit. From today, start applying with firmness, love, and constancy. Respect is not an option. It is a non-negotiable family value. As a father, as a pastor, and as a man who dedicates his life to the mission of training strong children for the future, I tell you with all conviction, respect is not a suggestion. It is an absolute, non-negotiable value, which needs to be planted in the heart of the family like a sacred seed. Respect is not a feeling, it is a decision. It's like the foundation of a house. Without it, everything falls apart. Many people today think that their children will learn to respect them because they grew up, because they took a course, or because they live with good people. But let me tell you, respect is not automatic. It is trained from an early age, and it starts at home with parents as main coaches. Training values is not an old thing, it's the future. At home, it has never been fashionable to let your child choose whether to respect you or not. From a young age, our children understood that there are things that cannot be discussed. They can only be practiced, and respect is one of them. In our house, the way we talk to our elders, how we respond to instructions, how we treat our mother and siblings, all of this reveals whether the value of respect has been absorbed or not. You can't leave it hanging and expect your child to figure it out on their own. If we don't teach respect at home, the outside world will teach us through pain. You will teach with closed doors, missed opportunities, and destroyed relationships. Teaching respect is a parent's choice. Living respect is everyone's responsibility. Authority is not dictatorship, it is direction. There are many fathers who confuse firmness with aggressiveness. I learned the hard way that shouting louder does not guarantee more respect. Sometimes a low tone and a firm word say much more than a shout. Respect is not imposed by force, it is built on the basis of coherence, testimony, safe direction. When the father's authority is based on values and not threats, the son understands what real leadership is. When a father is unstable, changes his mind all the time, contradicts himself, or keeps giving orders that he himself doesn't follow, the child doesn't respect it. He obeys out of fear or convenience. And that doesn't build character, it just builds tension. I've seen a lot of fathers take a break from leadership at home, thinking that it's enough to pay the bills and say they love them. But that's not how you train respect. Leading with love, firmness, and example is the most powerful and lasting path. Respect that starts with language. Have you ever noticed how words shape the home environment? The way we address our wives, our children, our brothers, all of this teaches us without needing to speak. At home, good morning is mandatory. Excuse me, pa, please, and thank you are part of our family's vocabulary. Not because it's beautiful, but because it's right. And the right thing for us is non-negotiable. When your child learns to speak politely at home, he will carry this throughout his life, and his language will be a bridge, not a wall. He will know how to express himself clearly and respectfully, even in front of those who think differently. Training respect is also training communication, and that starts with the parents. When the father shuts up, the world screams. If you remain silent in the face of disrespect, you are training your child to live without limits. And the father's silence makes room for the world's cry. Outside, no one will touch his head. The boss will charge, the teacher will fail, the judge will judge, and marriage will require maturity. Therefore, a father who loves teaches, father who cares corrects, father who has vision forms character. God didn't put us as parents just to feed, clothe, and give gifts. He has entrusted us with the role of character coaches, and respect is one of the main pillars of that character. Respect with God, the root of everything. Do you want your child to respect people? Teach him to respect God first. Here at home, reverence for the Lord is not a religious formality, it is a lifestyle. The Bible is not just a Sunday book, it is our daily manual. Worship is not just a church program, it is a place to encounter God. When the son sees his father praying, reads the word, fears God in his decisions, he understands that respect begins in heaven and descends to earth, and this shapes the way he will see authorities, leaders, teachers, colleagues, and most importantly, his wife and children in the future. Respect for God is the root. Respect for men is the fruit. Practical task for parents. Now it's time to act. Sit down with your wife and define together 3 non-negotiable values for your home that involve respect. Could it be Here you don't interrupt whoever is speaking. No one yells at anyone here. Here you obey the first time you speak. Write down these three values, stick them in a visible place in the house. It could be on the refrigerator, on the bathroom mirror, or on the children's bedroom door, and talk to the children about what this means in practice. Explain why each one, calmly and firmly. Then do a family assessment at the end of the week. Is everyone living these values? Take a photo of your value board and tag me on Instagram, Ik Wagner Ferraz Official. I will follow and repost the parents who are on the journey with me. Remember, Dad, respect can't be negotiated, it's lived. Message. Father, let me tell you something straight to the heart. Your presence is powerful. Your posture educates more than your words. Your firmness transforms. Your authority, when exercised with love and wisdom, shapes the future of your children. Don't outsource what God has entrusted you to do with your own hands. No school, pastor, teacher, psychologist, or social network has the authority and influence that you, as a parent, have in your children's lives. It is you who God called to be an example, mirror, and reference. What you sow today with respect, you will reap tomorrow in honor. If you train your son to respect, tomorrow he will respect his wife, his boss, his elders, authorities, and most importantly, he will respect God and his word. God did not call you to be a neglectful, soft, or absent father. He called you to be a pillar, shield, and firm voice within your home. And that requires you to live with integrity, speak truthfully, and act firmly, always based on love and the eternal principles of the word. My brother, your every attitude is training something in your son's heart. When you treat your wife with affection and respect, your son is learning to be a good husband. When you look him in the eye and demand responsibility, he is learning posture. When you correct firmly but without demeaning, you are teaching authority with balance. And when you ask for forgiveness when you make mistakes, you are showing that respect is also humility. Make no mistake, you are training today for what your child will become in 10, 20 years. And the outside world will be grateful or suffer for what he learns inside his home. The future of society begins inside our home at our table. So, Father, take your stand. Fatherhood is more than a role. It is a divine mission. And respect is an essential tool in this mission. Teaching respect is preparing your child for success. It's investing in his character. It's shielding your family against the moral collapse that is destroying so many homes out there. You don't have to be perfect. It needs to be present. It needs to be constant. You need to be an example. You need to be a man of God. The fruits will come, maybe not tomorrow, but they will come. Because what is planted with purpose, watered with prayer, and care with discipline flourishes at the right time. Let's go on this journey together. You are not alone. We are training a generation of strong children, ready to lead with faith, respect, and firmness. Children who do not bow down to the world, but who live according to the eternal principles of the kingdom. If this word spoke to you, share, tag me on social media. I want to see you grow as a father, training strong children with firm character and reaping the fruits of fatherhood with purpose. You were born to lead your home. Don't run away from your calling. Train your child, teach respect, and prepare a future firm on the rock.